Well, good morning, folks. Good morning. Another beautiful day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. So, we have a new scene that we started yesterday, and we can see it up here moving. So, we are in the process now of getting this scene moving through in the animation and getting that part of the animation accomplished. So, we got our poses done here. As I mentioned yesterday, when you start working on a scene, when you're posing out your animation, your first steps are just to put down um, what the scene, what basically you want to get accomplished. Your first drawings, your first drawing might be the end up being the last drawing in the scene, or it might be somewhere in the middle. Don't be overly concerned about that when you start animating. Um, you can start anywhere in the scene, wherever you might be inspired to start. Just do that. Once you get a few drawings, as I have here, down, then now you have something that would be considered the overall direction of your scene. As you can see here, I have, let's see, it looks like six drawings. Yes, six drawings, each of which is held 8 frames apiece, making the total of the scene be 2 seconds. So 2 seconds certainly feels like a pretty decent amount of time for the scene to go. But in the world of digital animation, where we can see our drawings moving and we can feel the timing and get a sense of where we are, we have an advantage over the old animators of yesteryear, where they had to pretty much time out their scenes, sometimes with a stopwatch or with a metronome, and that worked great. By the way, I say nothing against that, but since we have better technology today, since we can do things that our forefathers couldn't do, we may as well take advantage of that. And so as we move through the scene, it may occur to you say that as the scene develops, the length of the scene might change. It might get longer, it might get shorter. Now, of course, a lot of this will depend on how you're working. In a production, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're working in a production where there's many, many people involved, obviously, you need to have a production step-by-step method that works so that everybody can be on the same page. However, if you're doing something yourself, as I am here, how you work on it, of course, becomes highly individual. You might animate your scene like somebody doing a flip book, for instance. You might start with the first drawing and just draw a little bit each time until you get the whole thing. There's all sorts of ways you could do it. So I guess the thing I would want to get across to anyone starting is that how you do something is a very, very highly individual and very specific thing that you do. So don't feel that you have to get yourself stuck in a method of working because the system says that you have to. There are methods, techniques, ways of working. Absolutely, there are. But that doesn't mean that you can't try other things. All right, so that's what I'm getting across. All right, well, anyway, now we're at this point. So now the take is, all right, well, now what do I do? What's the next thing? Well, like I said, I play the scene a lot because I like to see what's actually happening. And once I played it a few times, then I start thinking, okay, well, I want to start connecting dots here. So he's painting, and then he lifts his brush here and comes back down and makes another stroke here. So I'm thinking of maybe having a drawing in between here somewhere. So what I'm going to do is just come here and go add after, which is just going to put a blank 8 frames in here. All right. And so what I think I may do here is what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw his hand holding the brush here. I'm going to trace the old one. Okay. And I'm going to grab this and move the entire thing. So I'm just going to grab this and I'm going to tilt it. Okay. Like that. And then I'm going to deal with the brush kind of sweeping around like this. And then I'm going to have his hand, his arm, kind of also following sort of, I guess you could call it a follow through, sort of whipping the arm around. Let's just flip this and see how that looks. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of frames for that part of the action. So I would say right off the bat, I'd want to make that shorter. So I'm going to make this 4 frames and flip it. Yeah, which seems a little more natural timing just for that part. So now I got a little something going on in between here. So what I can do is, I think what I'll do is I'll copy the, yeah, okay. So the letter that he's painting, I think what I'll do here is I'll copy the stuff that's not moving, just so I don't have to trace it. So I'll go copy, go to that frame, and paste it. Then I can finish this off, you see, this way, right? Then on the body, on the character, now I could have him coming, his face and hand going from here to here. So I could do that. I could actually pull back on that. Now, okay, to keep myself from having to redraw that or try to in between it perfectly, what I could do is go to find a head that's full like this one. And let's see, I can grab it, the whole head, copy that. Also go to where I'm going to end up putting it, paste it. Then I can move it to where I want it to be. So I kind of want it to be in between those 2 positions there. So he's going backwards. I'd have to kind of look and see where's the green line. The green line's where it's going. The black line's where it's coming from. So I'd say probably looks like right about in here. Now see here, I'm kind of being a little dicey. I'm looking to see where the eyes line up and the nose lines up to get him back to there. I think I've placed it right. I'm gonna find out here in a minute. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, got it in the right spot. Now, I don't know if you saw what I did there. I avoided having to trace and create the in-between by hand by just simply copying the heads and putting them in the right spot. This is, like I said, one of the beautiful advantages of digital animation. You know, if you don't have to do something the hard way, if there's an easier way to do it, animation is labor intensive anyway. So anything that you can do to make your life easier, that would be the thing to do. Because believe you me, there's going to be opportunity for you to work hard at some point anyway. You're gonna always, there's always going to be a reason to put in more effort on something in animation because there's plenty to do. Let's see here. I also got to make sure I get him in the Let's see here. These frickin' stripes. That's another problem. It's like when you get the wrong number of stripes, and a lot of times you don't even find out if you got the right number of stripes until you start painting them, and then you realize, oh, wait a minute, I got the wrong number. See, it already looks like it's kind of jumping a little bit here. Gosh. Yeah, I don't know. You might have to have one there. I don't know. Let's see. Let's flip it. Well, that looks good, but it also looks a little bit like those. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is stripes are can be a real pain in the ass because you might get the wrong number of stripes. You might get too many stripes. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of times you don't really know if you got the right number of stripes until you paint it. And then you go, oh, shit, So I don't know, at this point I may end up having to go back into this at some point to make sure I got the right number of stripes. Right now it looks kind of okay. But you see what I did here. I basically created an in-between position by copy pasting the heads. So that's not cheating. I mean, when we at Disney, a lot of times we would trace things. Yeah, we trace stuff, move it around, sometimes even Xeroxing it. So really, you work hard to make a drawing, to get a drawing working. So you may as well get as much out of a drawing as you can get out of it, really. There is no shame in copy pasting, whatever you got to do if it's going to make your life a little easier. All right, so he comes down. So you see, technically now I could just put some real simple in betweens in here. So let's say if I'm going from here to here, I've got 8 frames there, so I could go over here and do what do I want to do? Duplicate, split halfway. I think is that what I want to do? Okay, that's what I'll do. Duplicate, split halfway. What it does is it just copies the drawing, but it splits the difference, but it's the same drawing. So, all right. So the trickiest thing that's going to be to draw here is going to be the head. So let's just take our eraser. We're on that second drawing, which would be the literal in between. And we can erase everything except the head, because the head's going to be always going to be the hardest thing to draw it in between, because it's got the most amount of detail. We'll grab that, right, and we'll move this to where it would be as an in between. Now we could put it like right in the middle, maybe tilt it a little bit. In fact, we can even flip it here to see how the head moves back from that position. Yeah, that's not bad. Or we could even say we don't have to put it right in the middle. We could put it closer to the beginning. See how that looks. Yeah, that's kind of nice. All right, now, so then on the hand, well, we could just trace the hand from the previous drawing here. Right. And the brush here. Right. Then we can grab all of that and tilt it. The hand gets smaller here, so it's like it's pulling away. So obviously a little bit of discrepancy there. So we could put the hand in the middle, maybe tilt it more so that it's sweeping away. Like that. Let's just flip that. Yeah, that's not bad. All right, so then we can finish off the paintbrush action here in the middle like this. Give it a more, yeah. Do that. Right now his body is kind of coming back and out like that. So sweep the body out. Arm, yeah. See, some parts of the figure are gonna. Everything isn't gonna move the same way. That's the thing you have to realize about your animation is that every part of your character is not moving at the same rates. And that's really what kind of gives it a flow, a feel of being alive, because you're not moving everything the same way. You don't move the same. Every part of your body doesn't move at the same rate. So you want to vary things, break things up a little bit. So now let's see, between the time that he's paints down there in his hand, then his hand comes up off the page. So like from between, say, here and, well, here and here. Oh, no, not here and here is what I meant to say. You can see that obviously when he picks the brush up, there's something happening there with the paint. So we could do something in there, like let's say, okay, here to here. Maybe let's put a blank frame in there. So we'll say add after. And let's see. Well, we can trace this previous hand and paintbrush here. And we'll just trace the part of the brush that's static. The brushy part that's going to flip around and move with the paint on it, we don't want to trace that part yet. All right, so let's see. So this, we kind of want to get a feel that this is kind of, let's see. Maybe it's starting to whip up. So it's going to tilt. I don't know, maybe like this. And then so as the brush kind of comes around like that, okay, it's coming around like this. Then maybe this is where the paint here is kind of still moving here. Maybe the paint starts to drop off the brush a little bit here. You know, maybe we get a little bit of paint kind of leaping off the brush, and you just play that. Yeah. See, I'm sort of taking into account what the brush is doing to get the paint to kind of spread like that. I don't know if you're seeing that. And I just look at that part. So you move the parts that are moving, and some of the parts that are not moving, you don't worry about. Now, okay, so we know we got that upper part of the brush that's gonna, or upper part of the letter is gonna stay that. Whoops, what did we do? Did something wrong. Oh, well, we made it too big. We do something up. Oh, okay. Look, we just want to get the letter here. So we'll copy the letter. And we'll go copy, and I think we're going to put it on the, where is it going to go? I think it's the next frame, isn't it? Yeah. And paste. Right. Okay. So now we got, yeah, there we go. We finished that off. Okay. So now we want to put the head in here. So we're going from there to there with the head. So I say go back out to a full head like this. So you have something to grab, you see. So you go out to the full head. You grab that whole head. Copy that. When you do this, okay, you're using the select tool here. You copy something, and you hit copy, and then you go to where you want to paste it, which I believe was over here, yeah. You go to there, and then you go paste. Now you got your head there. So now you want to move it into position. So we want to kind of get it in between. We know this is where it's going to go. It's going to go in between these two. So I'm looking at the eyes and the eyebrows here. And I'm going to leave it there and then play it to see if it's in the right spot. Yeah, it looks like it's in the right spot. Yeah, that's good. All right. So okay. So now we want to go back and we want to get the in between on the arm and the body. So let's go in here and let's put. Okay, it looks like his arm. See, his arm is going up slightly, so it's actually going higher. It's covering some of the mouth here. Yeah. So it's not actually in between it. It's actually going slightly higher, which is okay. It's going slightly higher than where the body is. Okay. Get that in between there. Yeah. A lot of times, those frickin' stripes, man. The stripes are, the stripes are a problem. Yeah. So yeah, excuse me. Yeah, stripes can really be a pain in the butt. Let's see. Well, I might have gotten it right. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, that's not too bad. Well, let's see. So, let's see. Now, if timing wise, I could kind of spark this up a bit. So let's say we got 4s here. What if let's go down to 3 frames for the faster part of the action. Maybe this is. I'll make this 4. You kind of really end up sort of experimenting, really, to be honest. Like that 3. I'm going to make the faster actions on 3s. And he's up to here. Where we get the bigger spaces, I'm going to leave it as is, and then we'll just play that. Yeah. Okay, so that faster part of the action does kind of feel natural. When you get down to like 3 frames on an exposure, you know you're pretty much right there at 2s. So at some point, you're going to add a few more drawings somewhere to give it this softer movement. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to stop here. Yeah. We'll stop here for now. Anyways, yeah. So anyway, you can see how you can reuse drawings, how you can copy paste to get your in betweens, how you don't necessarily have to, try to eyeball an in between. In the old days, we did a lot of that. Since we have the digital platform, we might be able to get around it. And of course, now you've got these wonderful programs. My goodness. Where you can rig drawings, where you can manipulate drawings. Like there's a program I saw out there, I think it's called Moho, I think, which will allow you to manipulate your drawings. There's all sorts of ways where you can get around, doing hard in-betweens where you still get the same effect without actually having to eyeball the in-between. Not that that's a bad thing. I think, doing it the old-fashioned way is obviously great, and that's the way we did it, and it worked fantastically. But it is hard work. If you can let the computer help you to make an in-between, then by all means, I think you should do that. Definitely take advantage of all the perks and things that digital animation will give you, that these platforms give you. All right, good people. See you tomorrow for the next demo. Have a beautiful day. Thank God for your talents and gifts. Like and subscribe if you like what you see. And don't forget, Jesus is Lord.